Good morning, everyone. Today is March 4th, 2021 at, 9:39 a.m. Eastern Time, and we are going to talk briefly about the new PPP self-employed calculations. The SBA released a new interim final rule on March 3rd in the late afternoon, and this describes the way that self-employed borrowers may calculate their loan amount for PPP. The change that they have announced, which was anticipated, but we didn't know the exact details, now we know more, is that new borrowers, so anyone, the language in the IFR is those who have not been approved. So those who have not been approved for a PPP and are self-employed, file Schedule C, may have a choice now of either using line 31, which is your net profit from your business, and that's what was used before, or line 7, gross income. And that's a calculation that will be more favorable to some self-employed borrowers. Now, if you don't have any employees, you can just use line 7 or line 31. If you have employees, then you will also be able to include their payroll in your calculation. We have updated our self-employed PPP loan article on the NAV blog. We will link to that so you can take a look at that and see what it says. This could be a very favorable change. Now, having said that, I know we're going to have borrowers who are frustrated because they've already been approved and they did not get that full amount. So I'm going to give you two suggestions here. One is if you didn't get a second draw PPP, then apply right away, because that may entitle you to that larger calculation in your second draw PPP loan. At NAV, we're matching borrowers to PPP lenders, so we'll throw a link in there if you want to get that process started. If you're already shut out because you were approved for first and second draw, or you can't get the second draw for some reason, then the best I can do is say, contact your legislators in Washington, your senators and your representative in Congress, and let them know how this is impacting your business. I've already seen news articles talking about the frustration among some business owners who are already approved for small dollar PPP loans and who will not be able to access this new calculation. So make sure that you take a look at that, or take that action so that you make your voice heard. We have to stand up for ourselves, right? As small business owners and those who want to help small business owners. So again, this is the basic calculation is you either use line 31 or line 7. You're still capped out. Remember that PPP is based on $100,000 in annual compensation. So the maximum you can get for your compensation as a self-employed individual is going to be the $20,833, unless you are getting a second draw loan and you're in a business like restaurants or hospitality where your NAICS code starts with a 72, you get the 3.5 times. So you get a little bit more. Now, are we still using 219 tax returns? You can actually use 2019 or your 2020 tax returns. That's in the IFR. So you have your choice of which one that you can use and whichever one's more favorable. If you haven't done your 2020 tax return, then just try with 2019. I mean, if you can get it done, it doesn't have to be filed, but it has to be as accurate as possible. So if you can get it done and 2020 is better, go ahead. But if you haven't done it, then and you can qualify based on 2019, then go ahead and use that. As far as the lenders go, they got this all yesterday too. So I know it's going to be incredibly frustrating. I know many of you are already frustrated because it's taking time to get approved. Now, for some of you, that's going to turn out to be your benefit, because the fact that you weren't approved means you may qualify at this larger amount. But what we know from talking to lenders that we refer borrowers to at NAB is they want you to get this larger loan amount. So they will be reaching out to you to request the additional information that may be required. Check your email, respond quickly. Be patient, understand they're dealing with these changing rules just like you are. And we know it's frustrating, very difficult. We know you need this money yesterday, but let's just try to get it done and get as much as possible. Okay, so Alexia asked, I received second draw PPP funds. Can I request new money under the guidelines? That is not what the IFR says. The IFR basically says it's for those who are not approved. So I do not see anything in that IFR that would allow you to request more funds. Latasha said, what if you submitted a PPP loan application? If it's not been approved yet by the SBA, then my understanding is it can be modified to request that larger amount. So your lender will be your point of contact there to get that additional amount. What if you were denied when you applied 2 months ago? Gladys, I don't know why you were denied, so I would reach out to the lender. If it had to do with the loan amount, then that would potentially be a reason for reapplying. But I would talk to your lender to see whether that's feasible, because I just don't know why you were denied. If there was something else that may have been a problem. Now, there's two other things in there. If you were denied due to defaulted or delinquent student loans, the IFR says you can reapply. So they are not going to penalize PPP borrowers who have defaulted or delinquent student loans now, federal student loans. So reach out. I think you can reapply through any lender, but you could certainly check with your original lender to see if that's possible. So Joe said, hey, I applied for the second round, but I would like a larger amount. If you're already in the process, so you've applied, but your loan has not been approved by the SBA, then you get with your lender. And presumably, I know everyone's going to want to flood their lenders, but presumably they're going to reach out to you and say, here's our procedure for modifying your loan application amount. So see what comes through today. If you don't get anything from them, then you could reach out. But again, understand they've got thousands of applications too that they're trying to sort through and get processed. How much does it cost to apply to PPP? It costs nothing to apply for PPP. So go ahead if you think you may qualify. Again, we're matching borrowers at nav.com, and most of the borrowers we've matched to lenders have small loan amounts. So they're self-employed, they're smaller. We do have businesses with more than 20 employees, but lots of smaller ones. So we're happy to try to help you get that PPP loan going. All right, we'll likely do a more in-depth thing on an in-depth live or explanation on applying for PPP if you're self-employed, so we can update what we have. We've already done quite a few videos that have the old calculation, but we will certainly try to get you as much information as you need to make this happen. So remember this window for those who have fewer than 20 employees. This window is open through next week, Wednesday. So there was a 2-week window for those applicants. Now we just got the guidelines. So now you have about a week left to apply in that window. So again, be responsive to your lender, be patient. Some of you, if you already got the maximum loan amount, the $20,833, then this isn't going to make a difference for you because you've gotten the, remember, it's based on $100,000 annual compensation, our annual payroll. That includes you, and you divide that $100,000 by 12, multiply it by 2.5, and you get $20,833. So if your current loan application amount was $20,833, I don't see, except for those in the hospitality industry, I don't see a change. So Simone asked about forgiveness. Forgiveness has not really changed. The only thing is there's a little bit different description of owner's compensation, which we're going to dive into in our self-employed article and in more detail later. But yeah, it's still 60% payroll, which can include the money you pay yourself as a small business owner, and that may help. Musette asked about applying to multiple PPP lenders. This time around, I do not recommend that. In the first time around, we did, but what we have found in this round is that some borrowers are getting turned down for duplicate applications. And I think what happened there is that in the first round, there were borrowers who got multiple PPP loans because they applied through multiple lenders and there was some fraud involved. So they're much more careful this time. So I would not recommend you do the spray and pray two-way method with this round of PPP. I'd recommend that you go ahead and apply with one lender and see that through. So again, this doesn't change things except for those who are self-employed, file Schedule C, and have relied or would have relied on line 31, their net profit, but could get more money if they qualify under gross income, which is line 7 of your Schedule C. Now, it's not your gross revenues. There is a little bit of calculation in there for cost of goods sold. If you look at a Schedule C, you can just pull that right up on the IRS website. You'll see it's not just the total 1099s that you got. Potentially it could be the same, but there is a little bit of accounting that goes on behind the scenes, but it could be a substantially different amount. And quick example, I heard from a Uber driver who had very expensive vehicle repairs this past year. As a result, he was not going to qualify. And now, because of this change, he may very well qualify for the PPP. So anyone who had a lot of expenses that were reduced from the revenue of their business, so that could be rent, it could be things like those car expenses if you're an Uber driver, or the fuel expenses, etc. Those things reduce that net income, and that means you may qualify for more. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, we'll provide more information. Check out that article that talks about self-employed for PPP borrowers. If you have not applied, nav.com, right at the top, you'll see a link. Go ahead and get that application in ASAP, get it started. So hopefully you can make it before this program closes. Currently, it's scheduled to close at the end of March 2021. So we want to see you get those applications in and hopefully get the financing that your business needs to make it through and keep going in 2021. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Good luck. And we'll do our best to try to help answer questions.